what I'm going to do here today is demonstrate how to perform a sugar roll, and that's our preferred method on trying to determine the mite count to determine when we should start treating the bees. And so here is our sugar roll kit that I always have this in the yard. My sons that go to the out yards bring one with them, and then I'm going to break it down and show you what is needed in the sugar roll kit and explain to you everything. So I'll break it out and then we can talk about the individual components, and then we can actually do one. So you'll need a pan like this just to shake the bees into, and you will need a mason jar. Quart jar works well, and you need hardware cloth to keep the bees in and get sugar through the screen. So you need that, and you need some sort of canning funnel. They make plastic ones. I just like this old style one here that I've had forever. You will need a ½ cup measuring cup, and you will need a spoon, and you will need a solid cap. And I like to have an extra jar because I do a lot of sugar rolls, and that way I have a backup because they do tend to get clogged with sugar. And then you need powdered sugar. And powdered sugar is confectionery sugar, and I like to massage it, make sure it's not clumpy prior. And that's pretty much all you need, with the exception of a water bottle, just to lose the sugar and count the mites. And so I maintain that a person that has hives should try to do sugar rolls as often as they can. And for my sons, when they go out to out yards, I ask them to do a couple per yard per visit, and they try to visit the hives every 2 weeks. So if you have all the components out there handy, and I always lay them out even before I open up my first hive, so that when I do have an appropriate frame, it's very easy to do. So this hive here is a hive that is in a single deep, and by the end of today I'm going to probably have them in a double deep, but we're going to try to find the frame to do the sugar roll in here. So we're going to talk in another video more about working bees, but this will be like a preliminary as far as, you know, how to find the proper frame, which incidentally includes finding the queen if you can. So in finding the queen, one must start at the base, and this would be the inner cover, and as you can see, they are a little bit out of room because they're expanding up onto the roof. And the queen would not necessarily often be here, but she could, and she's not. So with regards to this hive, I can see where there's more activity on this side than this. I'm going to assume that she's here. I'm going to start here and work my way back looking for the brood. And to be honest with you, the easiest way to find the queen is to use as little smoke as possible, because the more smoke you use, the more you drive the queen. However, I tend to use more smoke than most people anyway, and I don't use any less when I'm doing this. And if I drive the queen, then I'll know she'll be at the end. But she has no reason to be here, because this would be the end of the brood nest. As you can see, there's nothing but honey on that frame. So being as how I haven't driven her, I can be fairly certain that she is not going to be this way, but heading this way. And if I had to predict, I would say she's on this frame, but we shall see. But on this frame here, moving towards, it's very heavy. Again, full of honey. Not much of a chance of her being there. And then on the next frame, we're getting into a little bit of brood. So I'm just going to remind them that I'm here. Remove the smoke. But in here, you can see that that has a lot of open brood, which is the perfect frame to target. What you want to do is you want to find the frame that has open brood, the larva if you will, because that's where the varroa mites are going to hang on the nurse bees. The majority of these bees would be nurse bees, and they're the ones that are tending the larvae and the brood. The mites are going to be on their backs, under their wings per se, and waiting to jump in the cells right before the bees cap over the cells. And so that's even a better example of the larvae. You can see it's pretty well emerged and ready to go. So right here, I would be comfortable enough just shaking this frame and getting the mite count, but I'm going to try to go a little farther and show that the queen is not here. You want to find the right frame with the right age bees, but you don't want to put the queen through all that. So I'm comfortable with that one. I'm going to put it aside as the one, and then just kind of quickly see if I can find the queen, just to be certain. And if not, like if you find the queen, good. If you don't, you just got to make absolutely certain that she is not on the frame that you're shaking. So I'm really just doing a quick inspection to see, because I have an idea that she will pop out, and if not, I'm still going to shake that frame. There's more open brood, so this could be another one, but that other frame is ideal. And that frame had older larvae, if you will, closer to being capped, which makes it all the more the perfect frame for shaking. And I haven't really seen too many eggs, so that's an indication that she's not there, because she's going to be, the frame where she is should have mostly eggs. I'm looking for the queen. I also often look at the next frame. This is a frame I predicted she might be on, and there's eggs there, so she could be. But we're not going to labor over finding her too much. So I don't see her there. But I've used enough smoke that she could be all the way at the end. So we'll look 2 more frames, and then just look at that other frame carefully if we don't see her. And this frame has a lot of bee bread, which is their protein source. So this would be like the end of the brood nest. So she would be, if she wasn't disturbed by the beekeeper, as in me, by smoking so much, she would be somewhere between this frame and this frame, or this frame and this frame, including that one. But let's see if my theory is right, and I did drive her all the way over here, because I may have. And I am not seeing her, but that was not the purpose of this YouTube here. The purpose of this was to do the sugar shake, and for that you just want to make sure that the queen's not there. We'll do a more detailed one on finding the queen another time. So being how we didn't see her, we will look all the better at this frame and just be absolutely certain she's not there. And you know, there's not that many bees in here, but what bees are here are the proper age, and you want to have 300 bees to shake, which is the half a cup, and there is at least that many here, and I for one do not see the queen, so we're going to do this frame. So the next step will be to take it over and bang them out. Alright, so what I do is, the whole while that I was walking from the hive over to this station, I was continually to make sure that I didn't see the queen, and I clearly don't, but we're going to look again through the way. But once you have the frame that you're wanting to shake out, basically I just hold it with 2 hands, top and bottom, and I bang them to get them off. So I'll do this, and they're in, and then I just let them stay in. As you can see, they all fell off, and the bees that are the nurse bees have never been out of the hive, so they're going to stay right there. The bees that are flying away are the foragers, and I don't want them anyway. So I'm going to leave them here and put this back in the hive, do a couple things, and give them some time. So what we've done is we've shaken the bees off of this frame. As you can see, there's not many left, and then we're going to let them chill over there and separate out, and I'm going to put this back together so that I can put the bees back as we're completing the roll. Because for one thing, I like doing sugar rolls instead of the alcohol wash. The alcohol wash is another method, but with the alcohol wash, instead of just shaking 300 bees to get your count, you actually kill them. And I'm not about that if I don't have to, and nobody's been able to show me quite yet the advantages in doing an alcohol wash. I've heard tell that it's a more accurate count, but I've done sugar shaking and alcohol washes on the same frame to get pretty close to the same number. And so I'm going to stick with this until somebody tells me that there is a clear reason. So what I've done is put those back in, and then these 2 remaining frames will go back in that were full of honey. And then we can go back. Okay, so now what we've got here is we've got the bees that are still here, and these are going to be the nurse bees. Because if you're going to do the sugar shake, you really want the right bees, otherwise you're going to get a false reading. The fact that these bees are still in here after that manipulation tells me that they're the right age bees. They're going to be the ones with mites, and you don't want, you know, bees that aren't going to have mites in there because you'll get a false reading. And so now that you have these bees, what you want to do, and I've just been looking one more time to make sure that the queen's not there. Now that you have this, you want to get yourself set up. The rest of it's going to go pretty quickly. So you have to have your jar handy and your funnel in, and you have to have this pretty close at hand. This is for later, and you want to put this back on. And then what you'll do is you want to shake these down and literally scoop up a half a cup to get your 300 bees. So I've got it down in the corner, as you can see, and I'm going to scoop up like Randy Oliver does. He gets the 300. You got your 300 in there, close down, put this on, and then what happens is the mites are going to be on the bees, and it's the heat that actually makes the mites dislodge from the bees, which is what we're trying to do. So I create heat in there by a couple methods, one of which it's hot, that's helping, and then I scoop like 4 teaspoons of powdered sugar in through there, and then that heats the bees up all the more, and they flex their muscles because they're hot, and the flexing dislodges the mites a little bit more. So I'll put 3, and then 1 more scoop, and I get a little sloppy, but it's just I'm trying to get most of it in. And so I got it in, and I'm going to shut this bag just to keep bees from getting in there, and then I just shake it a little bit, let the heat start, and leave the screen on. And then I want to save these bees, put them back in the hive. So we're going to go over and dump them back in. And as you can see, it's not a hazardous job because right now they're kind of separated from their home and they're not really protecting their home. So we're going to take them back over and reintroduce these bees back to their home by letting them know. And then, and if all this banging looks like it's harmful to the bees, well, it might be, but they don't know it. I mean, it really isn't, because they're just going right back into their hive like they would. Pan is clean. So now that we've dumped the bees back in there that are not in here, and these have heated up a little bit, what we're going to do now is heat them up a little more and keep it moving. So we put a solid lid on, and it's called a sugar shake because of just that. You want to shake them, and you really think that they're being injured, and well, they might get a little headache, but they'll be fine. And it's for the betterment of the hive in general, so it's a good thing to do. You must do this so you know your sugar or your mite count, so that you know when to treat. And so I think that we've sufficiently heated them up, so you want to bang them down to keep them down. Take this lid off, put this lid on, and you're ready to shake. So there's lots of methods of shake, and this is just no more than corrugated cardboard, or cardboard that's been plastic coated, and it works for me. So I want to shake the sugar out, and I would love to see 0 mites in general, but today I think I would like to see at least 1 so that I can show you what the mites look like, and I just soon not see any more than 2 if I can help it. But we'll see what we have. And so I'm going to get all the sugar out, and once you got most of the sugar out, then you will have the sugar out and the mites exposed. And what I do is I'll put this in the shade, not on the black though. Put them there for a minute, and then you can see them through this, but my eyes are getting old, much like I am, so I'm going to lose the sugar to water spray, which really makes the mites jump out all the more. And so now we got all the sugar dissolved, and the mites are going to be wee little round specks. And I usually have little bamboo skewers, but I forgot to bring that out. So I'm using this, and I must say, much to my delight, there are 0 mites. But like I said, I really wanted to see one so that I could show you. And there's sometimes debris that looks like a mite, and if you squish it and it doesn't stay whole, if it flattens out or changes shape, then it's just hive debris. And unfortunately, we got no mites. Unfortunately, but fortunate for the hive. So we've done a lot of integrated pest management techniques along the way, and apparently they've been working, because the mite count on that hive that's been running for a while is still at 0. Okay, so we did our sugar count, and we got a count of 0, which is pleasing, other than not being able to show you. We have these bees in here, and they will be delighted to get back in there. But these bees might not be as happy as these, because, well, they've just been shaken up pretty good. So for this procedure, I don't linger around. I usually put them in, make sure the jar is empty, watch them go down, and then basically just put their lid back on and walk away. And as you can see, it really didn't hurt them. They're still fine. They're trying to figure out what's up. And then in addition to getting the count, these bees are coated with sugar. And in order for that sugar coating to get off of them, they will incorporate the help of other bees in there to groom them. And grooming is a very good thing for bees to do, because it's hygienic behavior. And if they're grooming the sugar off, they're going to be more likely to groom off the mites as well, which bees will pick out the mites, especially those that are genetically, disposed to doing that sort of thing. So I like throwing the sugar bees in there just like that, have them go into the mix, and have them all get, cleaned up by their sisters or half sisters. And then I put the lid down, and oftentimes I'll put it down sideways, squish less, and slide it over, and then put the lid on. And then you have your count, which happens to be 0, and again, I'm pleased, but it doesn't give for best representation. And then just in closing, if you found this YouTube helpful, I would ask of you to maybe propose some other ideas of a single topic that you would like for us to discuss, and we're hoping to do a bunch more in the near future, and if we have a single topic, we could try to get them in the mix as well. And that's all I know. Thank you.